Oh, well, yeah. Hello everybody and welcome to the Virtual Village Hall. We are here today from Ivy and Willow, Growing Flowers with Love. And this is Maria and I'm Jess. And we're hoping to share our passion of flowers with you. We've collaborated, haven't we, to form this new brand. And we've put together some kits. So over the outlet there's 40 seeds and bulbs that you could subscribe to. But today, Maria's going to talk you through how to sort of begin with our April kit. And then we'll give you a little bit of information as we're going through after what's in it. And so she said, are you happy to proceed?
Let's do some seeds then to start with.
Yes.
Okay, so just to give you an example of what's in a typical kit, right. So let's have a look. This month we've got annual seeds, and with the seed packet you'll get individual sowing instructions for your various seeds. So the seeds that we're going to be sowing today are the ones that we are including in the April kit. But you can actually sow these at least until the end of May. So don't worry if you don't manage to order a kit in time for April. You can keep sowing them. You can sow half in April and then you can sow another half in May if you choose to. And that way you'll have fresh flowers as the season goes on. So Jess and Jess, you're a novice at sowing, are you? So would you like to do some sewing with me?
Are you going to tell me what to do?
Yeah, so I'll show you and then you can just join along. Okay, so do you want to pop that back there? So before we start sewing, what I'd like to show you is an idea of the sort of things you can sow with and sow into. So in terms of compost, you probably can't see that, but we've got a couple of bags, different kinds of multi-purpose compost. I like to use that as a professional grower. I just find it lovely and light and airy, and if you buy brands that don't have stones in, then of course that's better for seed sowing. And you can also buy off the shelf seed sowing compost, which is great too. So in terms of the way we, I'll show you the way I sow, but alternative things you can use. You can sow into modules. This one's a 24 module and that one's a 40. Or you can sow into individual pots. It's entirely up to you. You know, if you've just got a balcony, a terrace, and you just want to sow some seeds in a pot, that's absolutely fine. And then what I do, the way I do this, is I use these trays that don't have holes in for your seed germination, and I choose to half fill those with water, and then we fill. Would you like to fill up one of these? Fill our module trays.
This is with, if you use the Jack Magic.
I've used the J. Arthur Bowers on this one. It's really nice.
We can post a link of the materials that we've got in the video.
It's very nice compost. I mean, I have, just through experience of trying different composts, I sort of know which brands are better for seed sowing.
I've just sprinkled that in.
Yeah,
do you want me to tap it down?
Try and get it full, completely full so each module's nicely full. You don't really want to press the compost down to compact it too much for seed sowing, because those seeds, the roots, they need to find their way down through the soil. So what you can do is then, if you level it off, so we don't make a mess on the table. I mean, you might be doing this in the kitchen. So
I'm the messiest person, so it can be all over my
if you can sort of just tap it down a little bit just to get some air out. Yeah, that's great. And then we can put that then directly into this tray that's half filled with water. And what that'll do is it will wick up through the holes in the module tray. And you can do the same if you're sowing into pots. You can just put the pots in there. Alternately, if you don't mind getting a bit mucky and you don't mind soily fingernails, you can actually add water to your compost. Beforehand, you can put your compost in a bucket if you don't have something like that, just mix it up so it's nice and moist, and then you can fill that and put it into a dry seed tray. Right,
Yes, I remember that.
so what we'll talk about is quite important, is when you open up a seed packet, would you like to open up the scabious, is that one?
Sweet pea.
Sweet pea, sorry, don't open that one yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have my glasses on, I think I've got my glasses
Do you
on.
want to say that one? There we go.
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to start with, if you open those
Yeah,
up, Jess.
summer fruits. This one's called.
Yes. What we do basically is when you sow a seed, you sow it to twice the depth of its size in general. But if you buy seeds rather than ordering them from us, you know, it will say to you how to sow the seed if you need to exclude light. So
see the size. Hopefully you can see the size of those.
yes. Some seeds, you know, it says don't cover them at all because they're so fine and they need the light. So you just really have to read the instructions very carefully. Right, so the scabiosa seeds, what we'll do is, if I do a row and show Jess, and then she can do another row. Now, you can either use a pen, a pencil, or your fingers, and can you just pop one or a couple on there? Right, so they are not very big, but big enough, so a nice little indent that's about twice the depth of the seed, and just one more, please. So we do the 4. Thank you, that's fine.
It's never going to be one more.
So just drop a seed per module. Now, I like to just put 1 seed per module if I can help it, because when it comes to then planting them out into the ground or into a pot, it's much easier for you that you can then just take 1 module and plant it out rather than having to split lots and lots of seedlings that have grown in 1 module. Okay, just pop those 2 back in
the
there.
other one.
Yeah,
the other row.
if you do the other row then, so see how you feel about doing
I've
that.
always sort of been worried about the distance to sort of plant the seeds down. So it was, it's quite sort of interesting to learn about the sizes of the seeds for me.
It does become intuitive if you do this year after year, because you get to know really how deep to go and whether a seed should be heavily covered with soil or not covered. Great. So now what we need to do, is because there's plenty of soil in here, I'll show you one sort of method. You can either just cover over like that and just pat down gently, or as Jess was just about to do, just take a little bit, pop it over the top, and you're there. That's great. So you like to do yours.
So this is the bit, isn't it, that we always forget to do?
Yeah, absolutely. what we forgot to say was actually you should always label your seeds before you sow them, because you forget, or you might just forget and carry on. So would you like to just label that, please, Jess, and the date?
Oh, and the date.
Yeah. And then if you put the tag at the beginning of where you sowed from, because what you will do is you will choose really how many seeds you want to sow per flower. So you might choose to fill a whole seed tray of 1 type, which is fine, and that's what I do. But again, it's just entirely up to you. You might just want a couple of stems of each flower.
What do you want at the end?
You could just put it that way around is great. Yeah, at the beginning of where we sowed. Okay, so we'll carry on with the next one. So the Nigella and the Basil that we have are pretty similar in size. So would you like to open that one?
So I suppose we should tell people what's so unique about the kits.
Yes, great. While you're opening that, what I'll do is I'll sort of explain what the whole ethos is of this. But I'm a flower grower and Jess is a florist, and we've worked together for many years. And we wanted to come up with something that we could work on together. So what we've done is we've selected a range of flowers, and foliage for you to grow throughout the coming summer and into autumn. we've selected a colour palette that sort of ranges from creams, coffees, pinks, peaches, raspberries, and so that you can then grow these throughout the summer and use your own creativity. So you'll go out into your own garden and you might just fancy to make a little posy or bouquet with just cream flowers. So you just pick your cream flowers, or but at the end of the day, all those colour palette of flowers, they all go together, they all complement each other really well, and we've chosen that for you, taken that sort of headache away. But the other thing that we've done is we've included foliage plants as well. And for instance, in this month's April seed packet, we've got lemon basil, which is beautifully scented, and we'd always want to try and include something scented in all of the kits actually. So this month you've got lemon basil, which is scented, and you've also got sweet peas, which are scented. So that's the main thing for us, isn't it? Having that, putting your nose in the bouquet and just getting that gorgeous whiff of a smell.
And you don't get that, do you, from cut flowers?
You don't. If you go to the supermarket, you won't get that. No.
So the other thing that I suppose is really special is these are all specific, aren't they, for cutting as well?
They are, yes.
And because we're both makers, we've really tried to think about the year, haven't we? Ahead. There's possible craft activities that will come up.
Absolutely.
So there's sort of seeds that you popped in that will have dried seed heads later in the year.
A lot of them have multi uses. They do. You can dry some of them, and again, as Jess says, later in the season we can talk about how you do dry and how you then can arrange those dried flowers. That's just a small example, really.
We'll get carried away.
Okay. So we've got the Nigella. Yeah. And this Nigella is absolutely gorgeous. It's white, and then it's got these burgundy stamens, and this is a good example of something that has a multi-use, in that when the flowers then die, you then get these gorgeous burgundy seed pods, which you'll want to pick and save later in the season. Because they're absolutely fantastic. Right. So these are really fine. I hope you can sort of see that. So
what do you want me to individually?
Yeah, what I would do with these is just ever such a tiny. If I show you Jess first, and then you can do the next row. Because they're quite small, but they do still need coverage. Just a teeniest of indent in each one. And then actually you can drop that in, just one in each one. Don't worry if you do happen to get two in. Don't go fumbling about trying to find it and take it out, because, that's just not going to work. So let's do the next row too, There you go.
Lost two in them.
That's fine, it doesn't matter.
They're not coming out. That's always the way.
Yeah.
There we go.
Great. Okay, so that's the Nigella.
I suppose I shouldn't be holding this over the compost.
No, that's true. Or over the seed tray. You will find that as well. In all likelihood, it probably is better to use individual trays for your different flowers, because you'll find they germinate at different times. Because once they germinate, you'll really want to then just take them and put them somewhere really bright, so that they can grow on. So if you do choose to put different ones in the same module, you can though just cut strips and do what you need to do. So
that's just thing I haven't thought about.
Yeah.
So I think what's so lovely is that you've got the experience with this to kind of guide people, haven't you? And,
hopefully, and just it'll just mean that you do go through years of making mistakes, and learning the best way to sow seeds and getting the best results. Because even with the best of intentions and all the experience, you will find that actually you may just get 50% of the seeds germinating, and that's normal, unfortunately. So it's great when you do see that whole seed tray germinating. Okay, so before we forget then, should we do the seeds?
Lemon basil. That was Mr.
It's Mrs. Burns, lemon basil.
So I
Mrs.
always
Burns.
want to call it Mr.
I know.
Don't I?
They've got great
I think
names.
they've named it wrong.
Yeah. This lemon basil is just absolutely gorgeous though. It's like a really like acid green foliage. And then you get some gorgeous white spikes of flowers growing as well. So it's really nice. Do you want to do the little indents?
Yeah, with the
again, just small.
Little
Yeah, that's
one.
great. Yeah, that's really good. Because as I said, the size of these is pretty much the same as the
Would you
the
take if there's
nigella.
any lumps of compost?
Yeah,
would
you do.
remove that?
If you
Yeah.
get any obvious hard lumps or stones, then do take them out. So I just pop these in.
They're about the same size, aren't
They are, yeah.
they? You could
Getting
use
a
this
few
in
in.
cooking as well. Or drinks, maybe
You
a gin.
can, yeah, I do, yeah.
Shall I
do.
cover that?
Yes, please, yeah.
We enjoy a gin, don't we, after a live? But we
We
won't be
do.
doing that today. We're letting our secrets out now.
I mean, I've grown up in a background where a lot of what we grew had a multi-purpose. So my mum and dad were Greek Cypriot, and we always used to have my daughter scented geranium plants in the house, and they were used not only for flower bouquets, but they were used for making syrup for cakes. So you know, it's wonderful when you do start getting the bug and you do delve into it.
Rose geranium is my favourite.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
So now we've got. Would you like to?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
actually,
Rhinans.
other
Shall
way
we do the
round,
label?
let's do.
Oh,
Could
let's
you
do
just-
that. Here, I'll let
If
you
you
do
just
the label.
fill, yeah, just fill a couple of those maybe. Yeah.
So the kits that we put together, you can either subscribe monthly to them and just do it as a one-off, or we've put it together so you've got 8 months, and you could subscribe for the year as such. So that gives you a good cutting garden, doesn't it, up to the autumn, and then
It does, and actually, it'll go to the first frosts. You know, your flowers will keep going until the frosts kill them off. But part of the kit is, I think, the June kit is where you get biennial seeds. So what you're doing is you're sowing your seeds now, and then they will flower for you next spring. So during June, July, early July, when there actually might not be that much in the garden, you'll get your biennial flowers growing. And then we've also got some spring bulbs in there, so you'll be planting the spring bulbs in the autumn, which I'll show you how to do. And then you'll have lovely spring bulbs next year, and they're forever. You know, they will keep growing every year. So there's 2 types of allium and a narcissi. So now, I was shutting away, sorry, I didn't.
That's
Right, would
all
you mind
right.
doing that? And I could just show
the snapdragon, isn't it?
the snapdragon or anti-rhinum seed. This one is called Apple Blossom. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's so pretty. It's it is literally the colour of apple blossom. But what I need to show you is, I don't know if you can actually, I really don't know if you can see that. They are tiny, tiny seeds. They're like dust.
We'll take some pictures and put them on.
Yeah.
So we can share them.
So what we need to do, and I this is my method for sowing tiny, tiny seeds, and then Jess can have a go as well. So if no indentations for tiny seeds, and if you do go to the shop and buy different kinds of seeds that are tiny, please read the seed packet, because some will say to you, don't cover them at all, and some will say just a fine sprinkling of compost. So the way I like to do this, and you may get more than one seed in, but really don't worry. I just tap the envelope gently, oops, a few in there, and just try and get, that's it, one. That's the one. And that one. So would you like to have a go at those? Yeah. That's it, very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just got one in. Yeah, don't worry.
I think that was one.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So with anti-rhinum, what we do is it really is literally a really, really fine sprinkling.
You said in before about vermiculite.
Yeah, yeah. You can use a product called Vermiculite, which is it's clean, it's very fine, and you can use that to cover your seeds instead of using compost. And the good thing about Vermiculite is it does tend to stop a sort of a crust from forming on the soil. But I just tend not to use it because I just try and use as few products as possible, really, just to be sustainable.
What is vermiculite then?
Do you know, I don't actually know what it's made of, but I have used it in the past, and it's great, you know, if you want to do that. If you just don't want to sort of just get too dirty, if you just want to sort of have a really clean way of sowing,
That's
for
not
instance,
what it's about, is it?
if
We want you to get your hands dirty.
if you're a really clean, tidy person, you're doing it on your kitchen work surface.
Yeah. It looks like glitter, doesn't it? I've got a wildflower kit that someone bought me for the beads type thing, and I opened it the other day, and it's just the vermiculite with seeds in there.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you've just sprinkled
Yeah,
that.
I mean, to be quite honest, the reason that I don't have any to show you now, and I didn't buy any more this year, was because last November I dug up all my dahlias, and I've basically put them in the garage in vermiculite to keep them from rotting. And so it's great for that. If we get on next year into dahlia,
we're doing our list, aren't we? Yeah. Next month.
So what you can use, and if you start sowing your seeds quite early while it's still a little bit cool, to keep the heat in and the moisture, you can buy these clear plastic covers, and all of these things, although they are plastic, they are reusable. So, you know, if you go and buy these module trays, try and buy the sturdiest ones you can find so that you can wash them year after year and reuse them, rather than buying ones that are too flimsy. You don't have to have these. You can just cover with plastic sheet, or if you're sowing in April, you know, it's going to be warm enough really. You just need to make sure that you keep watering your seeds and they retain their moisture. So what you do would you just cover that over, and then when at least 50% of your seeds are then germinated, then you need to take that off. Don't wait for more seeds to come through, because they might start rotting because of the moisture and the humidity. Take that off. Don't worry if you don't want to use that, that's absolutely fine. And what you also need to do is, until your seedlings are really established, about an inch or so high, you don't want to water from above. You want to just take the module out, half fill the tray with water again, and then pop it back in and let that water seep up. Because some of the seeds are so fine, if you water from above, you just wash them away. But you do need to make sure that your soil is kept moist. Don't let it dry out, because the seeds, they'll just die. So seeds to germinate do need heat initially for the roots to start forming. So you need to put your seed trays somewhere warm. And once they do germinate, then what they need is light so that they can start growing. So if you've got a greenhouse now, the greenhouse is warmed up, it's great. Just put them straight in the greenhouse. If you don't have a greenhouse, just put them in the sunniest part of your house, close to the window, just to a bright light source, and near a radiator or somewhere warm, and they'll be fine. You know, now that we've got, and now that the clocks are changing, actually this weekend we'll have more hours of daylight, so they'll be absolutely fine. So should we tackle the sweet peas? And then,
sweet peas.
and then that's great. Yeah.
So I don't know if we mentioned, but the tutorials, so the kits come with a video tutorial. I'm not sure if we missed that bit. So not only do you get a video tutorial monthly on how to sow your seeds, we'll also keep you updated as to little tips and tricks, and as they're establishing what to do with them throughout the year.
Yeah.
So we are also on hand. We're going to try and be, aren't we, between the two of us, to answer any questions So yes, we're not just sending our kits out and leaving you to it. We really are wanting you to grow with love and hopefully sharing that with you.
And it would be lovely, you know, if you send some photos as well. So if you have a question, if there's something we haven't covered, which, you know, probably we haven't covered everything, just send us an email and we'll answer your question as best we can. Yeah, so if you
again
fill them up.
Yeah.
We can fill this with water later, but
Right to the top. Are we going to cover a
to
little
the
bit
top's
more?
great. Yeah,
Do this the same again. They'd go into water, wouldn't they?
they will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the water will wick up. If after a few days you find that the water hasn't wicked up, with the sweet peas you can pour water over the top, because the sweet peas, because they've got this hard shell around them, they do need that shell to soften before they start germinating. So you do need to make sure they've got lots of moisture. We can just show those, can't we? So with the sweet peas, you can see they're lovely big.
Did you put two in? Did you put two in?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just explain first that sweet peas, they need a long root run, so it will be no good sowing the sweet peas into a shallow module. So I do like to sow the sweet peas in here. And what I do as well is I just sow 2 sweet peas to a tub. Not yet. Hold it. Because then what you can do is you can then take these when your sweet peas are ready to be planted out, and you can just plant the whole thing up against a cane, so that you've got 2 sweet pea plants growing up a cane. I mean, maybe later in the season we can sort of show you how to do that. We will show you next month how to plant your seedlings outside. So we'll try and remember and have a sweet pea team.
I'll pester you.
Okay. So don't forget. I mean, you need to go maybe about an inch deep. For the
Right, so
sweet
this is
peas.
a bit deeper, isn't it, than the
Not
rest
too
of them?
deep, but
Shall I drop those in?
Yeah. If you drop them in.
Okay.
And then you can just close up the top there with these, because press it down so the soil's got contact with the seeds, and then pop that in. Yeah, and then again, if you want to use the plastic top, you can do that.
But the windowsill is absolutely fine. Then
It really is, don't worry. The only thing is, you know, if you don't have light sort of around the plant, all around the plant, they will sort of grow towards the light. So you need to keep turning them so they don't get really leggy. And as soon as, you know, there's any sign of frost is, you know, no longer a threat, you can put your plants outside to start growing, you know, because you don't want them to just get leggy and spindly.
So you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, we're Ivy Willow. And 2022, there's lots of Ivy Willows about.
The kits can be bought.
The kits can still be bought. I think it's quite obvious on the Facebook page after where you can buy them on the Instagram.
Yeah.
And then what we're trying to do is get you to subscribe to the email. So what we'll be doing is keeping you up to date with the kits, and then telling you what you should be sowing when and how you should be doing things. So hopefully we're covering all those questions.
Absolutely.
Throughout the months.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. It's just going to be very sort of personal, you know. Once you sort of have your kit and you start sewing, you have questions, then, you know, just feel free, you know, to email and send photos. It would be really great to see, and it would be great to see how you arrange your flowers later, or, you know, just video yourselves going out in the morning and picking them, putting your nose in and having a good sniff.
That's what I always try. So I'm going to do.
So I'll clear this up while you're doing that.
So I'm going to do a little demonstration of some flowers. So I've tried to pick things that are British. I've tried to get a few bits that are British in, and also some things that we grow and that I love. So I'm sure Maria can what that you sort of like as well. So this one I have kind of done this for Mother's Day, really. So this was because the last couple of years we actually haven't been able to see our mum, have we? Or get together to celebrate Mother's Day. We've been in lockdown.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is going to be sort of the mother of all Mother's Day, and so we can really start to celebrate it. So I always start my arrangements with some foliage, just as a bit of base structure. You could screw up a bit of chicken wire or something in there as a base, just to help if you've got a larger pot and your foliage is sort of hanging over the edges too much.
Yes, yeah.
What do you sort of use?
I would use chicken wire. It's just I choose not to use Oasis anymore unless it's a biodegradable one. Because I just think we have to sort of be responsible. So chicken wire's brilliant. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm trying to move away, but so this one I call a pot of love, and again I thought it was right.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
For what we're doing, so we're really trying to get you passionate about growing flowers and get the bug for it, because I absolutely love going out into the garden and foraging the fruits of our grow.
You've got a lot of fruit in your garden to choose from, haven't you?
And last year you grew in a little plot down the bottom of my garden.
I did, and I'll be doing that again
which
this year.
I absolutely loved. I was like a giddy child, and that's what I really want to share with everyone.
We'll video the gardens and our plots over the year, so that you can just get a sense really of the variety of things that you can grow yourselves. There are a lot of pot plants that we cut from as well, to say the geraniums. There's just all sorts of things. Mint's fantastic if you can get it to grow tall enough.
That's it. I've got some downstairs in my house and it's not as happy there, so I think I'm going to move it this year.
Yeah, you just got to keep trying, haven't you?
That's it. When before we lived in the previous house, there was trees and it really liked being under sort of. Well, it probably didn't like it because it was really leggy, but it meant that the stem length was great for arranging it.
Actually, a lot of birds don't mind shade if you do want to try growing herbs.
So I've got two different eucalyptus here, and it smells beautiful. We've got baby blue, which is this, probably what you typically know if you go into a florist. And then I've got the parvifolia, which is my favourite one. So I use that a lot. And then what should I do first? So I'm a little bit all over the place with this today. So I decided that yes, we've chosen some spring flowers, but I've got some bits in here that are sort of a few favourites. So I'm going to start adding. So we've got the beautiful lime greens, which you mentioned with your mint that's in the kit.
The basil.
The basil. The lemon mint. Lemon basil. So I'm going to add this in. So I love to see sort of lime greens in my spring arrangements.
Lime greens are great, aren't they? Because they look really good with vibrant colours, but they also look really good with whites. It's great, and even if you just have greens,
that's it. Well, that looks lovely on its own, doesn't it? Really. So you don't really need much more, but just if you fancy going and filling a pot or a jam jar, see if you can get a basis of foliage to start with. So it just helps to kind of hold your materials up. So have a little forage and see what's in your garden. So I'm just adding some smaller bits sort of around there, so hopefully that will dangle down a little bit.
You'd be surprised what you can find in your garden, actually.
Yes, I was. So when we've only been in our place a year, and I didn't feel like I had massive. And then when I went out, I really started. These are one of my favourites. I think they've named these the wrong name as well. They're Columbus, but I think they should be rhubarb and custard. If I show you these, so these are a British tulip, and they are multi-layered petals, so you get that kind of peony effect. As they open, so initially they're quite sort of a dark kind of peachy pink, aren't they? And then as they open, and they fade, so you get a really soft, pale, sort of pastel orange, peachy colour coming out, and it goes a bit vintage. So the more it opens, the more kind of vintage and antique it looks. So I'm going to add these in.
Something that I think people generally don't know is, and I've sort of learnt this over the years, is that your tulips keep growing when they're in the vase. So
there's
a
scientific word, isn't there, that I don't know.
Just bear that in mind, that they will get a little bit taller and everything else will stay the same size when you're arranging.
Yeah, so often I'll do an arrangement and the tulips will be tucked in if I do a bouquet, and then over the coming days, once you sort of get them into your house and they warm up, you'll notice that they'll sort of sit above the flowers in sort of a couple of days. So, and not only with these ones, you get a change of colours as well.
Yeah, so they're lovely, really nice. It's nice they've got the cream in, because that'll really pick up with any yellows that you put in. Yeah. Can I be doing anything for you?
What should we do? What do you fancy doing? Oh, that one's open. Do you want to show them on that one?
Yeah. That's so pretty. Because the stamens are really pretty as well when that opens.
So we haven't got any tulips, have we, in the kit, but we have got, we've got narcissi in the kit.
Nice as well.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? So in the October or the November kit that we've got bulbs in, and I think it's a Winston Churchill.
Yeah, Winston Churchill, it's a white one.
So this is slightly different, very different colour scheme. So I'd say it's more creamy than Winston Churchill.
It is, yeah, it is.
It's
a multi-headed one.
Yeah, it's one of my favourites. I'm going to leave some of these a little bit longer, so that you can see them.
That's really nice. Yeah.
So I'll add a few different. So I've got two different narcissi. We've got paper whites, and I can't remember for the life of me the name of the other ones. And then we've got two different daffs as well.
Oh, they're lovely.
So
Are they
I give them to you. So so I bought these bulbs off Maria, and so they are. I think did I buy 100? I think I got 100 around the garden. So if you're in Lincolnshire and you fancy a bunch of Tahitis, you can come and pick your own.
They're lovely just on their own, obviously. I think narcissi and daffodils are lovely on their own.
They make me so happy when I pull up on my drive. So I'm going to add a couple of those in as well. And then I have got these ones, and they're more, you can't see them, but I'll just add the buds in today. But they are more of a double daff. But they're just yellow, I believe. Just another one, so add those in as well. Can you see? Okay, I will put it a bit closer at the end. So, and these are flowered. I've had one on my windowsill for about 2 weeks now, and he's still flowering. Daffs can go over really quickly, can't they, if you buy them from the shop?
They're really good value, daffodils. I mean, they're fantastic. That's nice. So this arrangement really is kind of more from one side, isn't it? Which is lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can keep turning yours around. It's only sort of for the camera. I've done it that way. What I was going to do with this arrangement, I'm hoping that the Virtual Village Hall will be happy for me to do this. So the Virtual Village Hall is run by the Royal Voluntary Service. I think I've got that right. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Victoria. But what we're going to do is I'm going to do a raffle this weekend at my shop. So we're going to raffle this off, and then we're going to give the proceedings to the Virtual Village Hall, so the Royal Voluntary Service, over the Mother's Day weekend. Little pot of, see how I'm going to keep bring that tulip around the front. No, so you can keep fiddling. What else have we got? Hyacinths. I've got hyacinths in my garden.
The smell is sublime.
They are.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely packing a punch, aren't we, with this? So I don't faff around too much with hyacinths. I don't know if you've got any tips to do with them.
No, you've got to be
I do tend to just try and put them into a vase without cutting a lot off. If you have to, you can cut sort of a couple of mil off the end otherwise they droop all over the place. I'm slightly running out of room here.
Just when you do put your stems in a vase, especially with bulbs, spring bulbs, just make sure that there's no soil on them, because if your water gets dirty, yeah, if your water gets dirty, the flowers won't last as long. You just need to keep your water really clean. Just keep changing your water.
Yeah. So that's a great tip. Just the best sort of thing you can do. We can overcomplicate it, can't we, by adding foods and
that's sure that's really necessary.
No, but I just tend to say change your water every couple of days.
Make sure your vessel's clean.
And your vessel's clean. Yeah, absolutely. And that's how you get sort of the longest life. Also keeping them in a cooler part of your house.
Out of direct sunlight.
So you should get a good sort of 7 days.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to call it a day there. So it is absolutely full of spring loveliness. So this one, if you're in Lincolnshire and you fancy a little raffle and to support the Royal Voluntary Service, you can pop along. I did have some Astrand here.
I don't think they do they?
They don't, but it's one of my favourites.
It's beautiful.
So, I think it was called Love or Star of Love or something they're called. So share a bit more love for Mother's Day. Hey?
Great.
So so we're going to round it up there.
We are. So it's been good fun.
Thank you so much for having us on. We hope you enjoy your weekend and spoil each other. So
happy
Mum's coming all shapes and sizes and such a bloom.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, and we're going to leave it there. So goodbye.
Till next time.
Yes.